They are going to tell us about security and fire. We are going to listen so that we will help ourselves in time of such needs if they arise. Sir, we are going to... It's our director of security that will start first. Others are coming on their way. If they meet us, they will now advise us more on what to do. Say they are here already. They are here already. The police? Okay. Are they here already? No, not yet. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Women for Christ. Women for Christ. Women for Christ. Women and men for Christ. Thank you. I'm standing here also asking you to pray for the police woman that was supposed to be here, the DPO of Elysian Division, who, as I called her this morning, she is in the hospital. She was supposed to be here, but she's sending a representative, but I also want you to pray for her so that she can be healed fast. For now, two of us will be doing the presentation, pending when the police representative will come. We are going to talk about safety and security in our homes and our environment. I will quickly ask Eda Bizube, because he is going to be more of practical presentation and demonstration. Because if we tell you much about what fire can do, fire is friendly, very friendly, but can be very, very dangerous if not properly handled. So please come and do something.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be here this afternoon, and I bless God for this opportunity. And when I came here, I met us praying. Yes, God will answer our prayer. Amen. But let's remember what the spirit of prophecy says. If anything that divinity can do, anything humanity can do, divinity will not step in. And that is why we have to be safety conscious, and we have to prevent fire from occurring in our environment. This morning, I'm going to present on fire. I will streamline it to kitchen fire. But before I go into kitchen fire, I will remind us that fire is friendly, just as my director have said. Fire is good. We are all here today because we cooked our food and we ate food. Fire was one of the first things that man needed to be able to live effectively on earth. Our first locomotive used fire. Everything around us uses fire. But unfortunately, fire can be dangerous. Fire can be hazardous. Fire can become a disaster to us if not controlled. And that is why today we will lay emphasis on how to ensure that fire doesn't misbehave or doesn't go out of hand. Fire can be defined as rapid chemical reaction, self-sustaining process of rapid oxidation of fuel. We produce heat and light. The important thing here is to know that fire is made up of three basic elements: the heat, the oxygen, and the fuel. What this means is that if you can eliminate any of these, you have controlled the fire, or you have suppressed fire, or you have prevented fire from occurring. So this morning we are going to look at how can we eliminate any of these three elements to ensure fire doesn't go out of hand in our environment. Get to look at the techniques you can use in preventing and controlling fire. And the techniques is tagged fire suppression method. We have 3 methods here: the cooling, the smothering, and the starvation. Cooling is the removal of heat. And that's what the firemen does when they come to your environment to help you to fight fire. We remove the heat from the fire with the use of the fire engine. What you see in the fire engine is just water. So people will tell you, add detergent. It's until you add detergent that the fire will be controlled. Today, I want us to know that it is not true. It is not true that it is until you add detergent. Actually, there is what we call foam chemical. But the detergent that you can afford will not be able to produce the amount of foam that is needed to do the work of smothering for that fire. So there is no need wasting your detergent. Continuous application of water will control the fire. But there is danger when you use water at the first call, because there are some other classes of fire where you are not supposed to use water except you eliminate the source of fuel or the source of energy. We will get there. Smothering. Smothering is to prevent more oxygen from entering the fire. Remember, in the fire triangle, we said heat, oxygen, and fuel. Smothering is the removal of oxygen. And most of us have been practicing that in our kitchen. When you want to steam your red oil and you want to fry something, and unfortunately it's over-steamed, and suddenly it ignites, what do? You cover it. You have performed a fire safety task. That is what you are doing, is smothering. You are preventing it from, preventing more oxygen from coming into the fire. And that is what our fire blanket does too. Our fire blanket too is to prevent oxygen from coming to the fire. And most of our extinguishers, that's what they do. They repel oxygen from the fire. But water is the only one that actually have that ability to cool down the fire. Just as I've said, water is the most effective extinguishing agent, but you cannot use it for all classes of fire. Then the third fire suppression method is starvation. Starvation is starving the fire from more fuel. And this is the only way you can control gas fire, which is Class C fire from the British classification method. The only way you can control gas fire is to starve it from more fuel. And that's why today, with emphasis, please remove your gas cylinders from your kitchen. Remove your gas cylinder from your kitchen. Place them outside the kitchen so that in case your gas burner misbehaves, in case your gas burner escalates, you can easily go to the cylinder outside that is still safe, and you will control the fire by just starving the fire from fuel. Starvation is the only way you can control gas fire. What are the major causes of fire in our environments or in our homes? The major cause of fire most time is electrical fire, and most of the causes is because our electrical sockets, our electrical cable are underrated or overrated, or they are overloaded. Most of the time, we want to plug everything on one socket. Your fan, your television, your fridge, everything. Please, let us stop overloading our sockets. When you overload it, it will emanate heat, and this heat over time will lead to fire. Please, let's stop overloading our sockets. Let us switch off electrical gadgets when we are leaving our homes. Fire is best controlled at the initial stage. In short, I used to tell people, as firemen, when we get to a scene and the building is already coming down, what we do is to prevent the fire from spreading to other buildings. That building must come down, because the building is already damaged. So why are we bothering ourselves, salvaging what is already gone? So what we do, we prevent it from spreading to other buildings. So the best way to fight fire is to fight it at the initial stage. And that's why today we are going to advise you or encourage you to have portable extinguishers in your house. Because the best time to fight fire is at the initial stage. When it escalates, most time, using your portable extinguisher, you are just wasting it. You are just wasting it. So it is best you fight fire at the initial stage. Poor housekeeping and place of work. Poor housekeeping here means we should ensure that we clear our exit routes. Sometimes when the fire escalates, you need to exit. And when your exit routes are blocked, how will you exit the environment? How will you exit when the exit routes are blocked? So please arrange your house, plan your homes in a way that you can exit easily. Sometimes I used to tell people that security will encourage burglary proof, but safety will discourage burglary proof, so that it can serve as an exit route if maybe your door is already on fire. Do you get that? We don't encourage burglary proof for our windows, but because of security reasons, that's why we do it. But all the same, when you are building any building that is above just as my director said earlier, we would like to demonstrate some things this morning. So we want everybody to see. So let me read through some other major causes of fire. Improper storage of flammable materials or our gas cylinder, which I've mentioned earlier. Please keep your cylinder outside. Keep your cylinder outside. Misuse of equipment or machine. Please, if you don't know how to use a particular equipment, don't try it. Don't try it. And when you get a new equipment, it is good you read the manual before you use them, so that you will not abuse the use. Managing faulty equipment. This is very common with us in Nigeria. We know that this electrical socket is bad and we'll be managing it. And suddenly fire occur and we'll start praying. Please, anything humanity can do, divinity will not come in. Please, when you have faulty equipment, call the specialists, replace them. It is cheaper to replace that equipment than to lose the entire building or you losing your life. Now, I want us to go to type of extinguishers because I will encourage us to have fire extinguishers in our homes. We have the CO2, we have the dry chemical powder, we have the foam type, then we have the water type. Yes, I don't have water type here because we usually discourage the use of water because most of the fire we are prone to in our homes is electrical fire. And when you use water for electrical fire, you become the first victim. And that is why water is discouraged for electrical fire. But after which you have removed the source of power, for example, in Babcock University, the first thing we call is the powerhouse. Put off power. Anytime you see the power goes off, it's better. It's either there is a fire outbreak somewhere or there is a major fault. So when they put off that fire, that power, then we can use water to fight the fire. So in our homes, let's locate our control panel, our major control panel. When there is electrical fire, the first call is to go and put off the control panel. And you know what that is? Starvation. You have starved that electrical fire from more energy. And when you starve it, sometimes it goes down naturally. But if it doesn't go down naturally because it has ignited other things, then you cannot use water to control it. But all the same, because of fear, extinguishers are readily available, which you can use. And the extinguisher will not electrify you because the nozzles are made of FACILITATORs, non-conductors. So you will not be electrocuted if you use your extinguisher. But be careful and know the right extinguisher to use. So water type extinguisher, we discourage it in our environment, and we also discourage you, don't buy water type extinguisher. And when fire occurs, please don't go for water first. Be sure you have eliminated the source. Be sure you have eliminated the source before you use water to fight it. But water is the most effective fire extinguisher. Did we get that? Water is the most effective, but don't go for water first because of the danger involved. Likewise, when you talk about gas fire, can you locate gas when everywhere is burning? So you cannot use water. So the first call is to starve the gas from flowing. And how do you starve? Since your cylinder is outside, you just run to where the cylinder is, and you put it off, because there's always a control knob on every connection of a cylinder. Put it off from there, and that fire might go off naturally if it has not ignited other things around you. The foam type is not readily available in Nigeria, but foam type is very good because it will not just fight the fire, but it will also serve as blankets, which will perform the work of both eliminating, both starving and smothering, eliminating the oxygen, and it will smoothie the fire. But unfortunately, it's not readily available. It's very expensive to purchase. In short, the one we have in our fire truck, I know the university actually coughed out a lot for us to have that foam chemical that we have in our fire truck. So foam is not readily available. So please, there's a foam chemical, but it's not readily available. But we'll make do with the two major extinguishers that are readily available. Please don't use the water extinguisher, but the two major extinguishers that are readily available is the CO2 and the dry chemical powder. CO2 color code is black. Put it up. Color code for CO2 is black. It's easy to identify, and it's very, very friendly. The advantage of CO2 is that you can use it several times before you exhaust the contents. Though it is expensive to purchase, but it is more economical to manage. You can use it several times, but the disadvantage is that it's not as effective as the dry chemical powder because it is gaseous. All it does is that it expels the oxygen temporarily. Immediately more air comes, it might reignite, especially if it is wood, carton, or highly flammable material. So that is why it's not very effective. But imagine you have a small fire in your kitchen. Use your CO2, and it will be controlled. And you know that CO2, you will still use it several times before it will go out of market or before you will need to service it. But the dry chemical powder, the color code is blue. The dry chemical powder is more effective because it will expel the oxygen, and at the same time, it will perform the work of starvation and smothering. At the same time, it will remain there as a blanket on the fire. And by so doing, it will stop more oxygen from entering the fire, and the fire might not reignite. And that is why we encourage dry chemical powder in our cars. It will stay there as a blanket, and it will not reignite. But at the same time, I still tell people, when there is fire in our homes, let's endeavor to have the nearest fire station number around us. Because all these are called portable fire extinguisher. They can only do the work temporarily. After a very long while, it might reignite. And if the fire has escalated before you discover it, it might not be able to control it. So that's the more reason why you must have a fire service line. They will come with a truck. Our fire truck is filled with 5,000 liters of water. By the time we exhaust the water there, the fire water must have gone off. And by God's grace, we have a chemical chamber in our fire truck in case it is a gas fire or it's a liquid fire. We can easily control it. Then the fire blankets. The fire blanket, as I mentioned earlier, we should have this in our kitchen, in our laboratories. The fire blanket, too, is to prevent more oxygen from entering the fire. When there is fire, all you just have to do is just to put the fire blanket on top of the fire, and the fire will go down naturally. The fire blanket is in sizes, and it's not very expensive. If you have this in your home, it's a very good one. Most times, we see when we go to rescue people in town, this fire started small. But because they didn't have this basic firefighting equipment, they saw the fire escalating until it brought down the building. And you know, unfortunately, most of our trucks are diesel powered. It takes time before the vehicle will pick up. It uses air, at least 5 to 10 minutes. So definitely, and before we navigate, before we get to your environment, the building would have come down. So please, it's good you have all these basic firefighting equipment. They will suppress the fire before we get there. At least it will suppress the fire. That I am sure of. Now, unfortunately, because of the economy and the African mentality, some of these color codes are not more followed. And that is why I came with these other ones. This is also a dry chemical powder that's supposed to be blue, but they are now painted red because red signifies or indicates danger. So all the extinguisher you see in the market is now red. But all the same, you can easily identify your dry chemical powder. It has a narrow mouth, unlike the CO2. Unlike the CO2 that has a wider mouth. So now this is also CO2, but it's painted red. This is also dry chemical powder, it's painted red. This is the actual color code for dry chemical powder. This is the actual color code for CO2. But these two, they are the same thing. These two is the same thing. When you go to the market, you can have the two in your homes. If it's a small fire, use the CO2. If the fire is a bit big or it has intensified, use the dry chemical powder, because the dry chemical powder will expel the oxygen and it will also serve as blankets on the fire. It is more dependable, it's more effective. But the disadvantage of dry chemical powder is that it is once used. There is a powder in it, and this powder is being propelled by a little gas that has been put inside to help you to expel the powder. Now, if you press, because the air inside is small, you would have exhausted the air at one press, and when you want to use it again, it will not work. So that is why it is more economical to use to have the CO2 that you can use several times. But the CO2 is more expensive, but it is more economical. But it's not as effective as the dry chemical powder. But for our homes, if you can have the CO2, fine. It is better and cheaper. Then we also have the sand bucket. The sand bucket is actually for liquid fire, class B fire. Sand bucket is for liquid fire. When the fire is burning, you use it to solidify the fire, and the fire will go off. Because of time, we'll go to demonstration immediately. Now, how to use the extinguisher. Extinguisher is very simple to use. Very, very simple. As simple as our body spray. But because of, we don't want people to waste it when not in use, that's what we call the safety pin. So there's a safety pin in it. So we're going to follow this acronym, PASS. Acronym PASS, P-A-S-S. The P is to pull out the pin. Pull out the pin. You pull out the pin first. You can see him. He has pulled out the pin. The pin is easy to pull out. If you don't pull out the pin, the lever will not press. That lever is just to prevent it from being used when you don't expect to use it. Then the next thing is to aim at the fire. Some people will tell us, we used the extinguisher, it didn't work. There is fire down there, you have started using the extinguisher here. It's a portable extinguisher. You must go close to the fire, aim at the fire. Then the first S is to squeeze the lever. Squeeze the lever. And when you squeeze the lever, you sweep and ensure the fire goes off completely. Squeeze the lever and ensure that the fire goes up completely. Fire extinguisher is very easy to use. Please don't be afraid to use it. It's a bit heavy, but take it, remove the pin, squeeze the lever, and then sweep it. Ensure that the fire goes up before you stop pressing the lever, especially when it is dry chemical powder. Remember, dry chemical powder is just once used. If you press it and you stop, when you press it again, nothing will come out. So that once pressing, ensure you sweep. Ensure you sweep very well. Ensure the fire is off before you release the oliver, so that you will exhaust all the powder. Most of the extinguisher we service here, we discover that the powder is still there, but the gas, they have released the gas because they just press it a bit and the gas released and the powder did not follow. Squeeze it very well, then you will fight the fire. Now, we know that everyone cannot afford the cylinder. We know everyone cannot have a fire blanket. So because of that, I want to also teach us before I take my seat on how to control fire in case you don't have this safety equipment. Now, the fire blanket has high resistance for fire. But if you leave this fire blanket on fire for a very long time, it will also burn. It will also burn. Our fire jacket, our fire suit have high resistance for fire. But if you leave it there for a very long time, it will also burn. That's why firemen are advised to, when you go into the fire, after some time, you step out, go and take fresh air before you come back again. You should not remain in the fire because even your clothes can ignite. So I will encourage you in case you are using a camp gas. Now, in safety, we discourage camp gas. We know what camp gas is. This one that is complete, everything is here. Very economical, but very, very dangerous. This is a time bomb waiting to happen. It's a time bomb waiting to happen. But fortunately, the economy is harsh. By the time you think of buying your gas burner, or you buy your gas stand, and you go and buy the cylinder, and you buy this, it will be highly demanding. So because of that, in case you are using this, please always watch the burner. If you notice that the burner is getting rusting or is getting weak, please change it. It's better to spend that little money than for you to lose your life. Change it, because most fire that have happened because of this is because the gas burner has given you warning over time, but you ignore the warning. Please let us not ignore warnings. Sometimes you want to off your gas burner, it didn't go off. You manage it and it went off. The other day you tried it, please go and change it. Buy another gas burner. And yes, we don't encourage it, but if eventually that is what you can afford, use it, but be very, very safety conscious while using it. Now, in case there is fire and you don't have access to any of these equipments, you don't have the extinguisher, you don't have the fire blanket, you can run to your bathroom, pick up your towel. Pick up your towel, because towel, we know towel is more, can resist fire better than our normal clothes. And it can retain water a while. Pick up your towel, soak it. This is for gas fire, please. Don't use it for electrical fire. Gas fire. Soak your towel. This towel is already soaked. It's wet. So right now, just that we can see this is burning seriously. If it's in the night, you will see the fire. It's burning right now. Well, we can't see the fire, but there is fire. Now, let's assume that this thing have rusted and you try to control it and it's not going off. Please be courageous enough. Wet that towel and make sure you cover it completely, like what the blanket will do. When you cover it, the fire will go off. Yes, the cylinder will still be leaking. Allow the gas to waste. But make sure no ignition comes around. When you put it off, start warning people, please, no torchlight, no candle, no ignition should come around, no phone, nothing, until the gas is exhausted. When the gas is exhausted, you will be safe. The gas itself is not harmful, but the gas with fire is what is harmful. When the fire is burning, remove this one. No. Just this one. Yeah, light this. It's burning, we can't see. So at any stage at which that thing has been damaged, all you just need, use your towel. Be courageous enough. Cover it, the fire will go off. Even if it is your standing gas or your tabletop, just cover it with the wet towel. It will go off because you have starved it from oxygen. You have starved it from oxygen. Please don't be scared. Be courageous enough. Even when using the extinguisher, be courageous enough. Go close to the fire. Press your lever, and the fire will be controlled. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Have you learned one or two things? Me, I've learned even more than the women here, because I also cook a lot. I go to the kitchen sometimes when my wife is not at home. The representative is not yet here, but I want to quickly run through some things. Because of the statistics we have, I want to just talk a little bit about home safety, especially in our bathrooms. We get reports that many people die in the bathroom. And especially when you are getting older, the kind of baths you use or the bathtub you use should be looked into. Some people will sleep in their bathtub. The next thing, they will hit either their head or their neck, and it's difficult for anybody to rescue them. Before you know it, God forbid, they are gone. So I want to quickly look at that before I go to other one, depending on our time. Now let's look at the kind of floor you use for your bathtub. Do you use the normal tiles that are slippery, or do you use grip tiles when you are using your bathtub? Even if you hire or you rent an apartment that has been built already, and the bathroom, the tiles in the bathroom is such that it's so slippery, it is you who live in that house. You are the one who used the bathtub. Please, I beg you, don't manage it. Look for a way to change it. If you cannot have that money to change it, there is this bathtub, what do you call it? Carpet. Some are short, some are very long. Place it in your bathtub. It will give you grip. Then when you are also on your bathroom, please, at this stage, maybe it was good for them those days, though, but the bathtub these days is a death trap. I don't know, because I've had instances where people die while taking their bath, and by the time you trace it, they bath in the bathtub. It's good, yes. You can soak yourself inside the water, but it is very, very dangerous. Sometimes when you want to come out, the soap have, done some good slippery things there. By the time you slip back or slip outside, you cannot control and you get yourself damaged. So I said, let me quickly bring that to our notice before I talk about some security things that we need to take care of in our homes. First thing first, when we are at home, let's make sure that our curtains are down, especially at night. Because at night, somebody outside sees you than you will see the person outside. So your movement at night, especially when you also use transparent curtains, they will see from outside. So if they are planning anything, they can reach you before you even know that they are around. They can sneak around your house and be watching you. You would not know. So as much as possible, we ask that use thick curtains whether in the bedroom, whether in the sitting room, or any part of the room, please, even at your window blind in the bathroom also should be such that it is not transparent and you don't open it for anybody to see from outside. Then install smart locks in your homes. There are some smart locks that will beep when an intruder comes. Alarm. Will raise alarm. And there are some smart locks that if you don't access it from inside, except you are inside, you cannot open from outside. So some of these smart locks is in the market. If you ask them, they can always get it across to you. Then there is this one I need us to take cognizance of. And that is security systems in our homes. Yes, private homes is easy to install that. But a house you rented is also easy in the sense that you mount it at the entrance of your door when you have closed your door for the night. If you are going to sleep and somebody comes to your door, please, once he touches the door or touches the handle of the door, it will alert you inside that you have an unwanted guest or somebody you need to find out what you have. Then lighten your home. Some of us, when we are going to sleep, because we want to minimize the power we use, we switch off all the security lights around our house. If somebody comes in to lock around your house to wait for you, you will not see. Another thing is, if there are trees around your surrounding, trim them if you have to. If they are blockage to you, cut them off. Then when these trees are closer to your fence, please remove them because it's easy for them. It's a ready ladder for them to climb into your house. Then I also want to talk about the issue that many of us do, consciously or unconsciously. We are all here, Women for Christ. Many of us have taken pictures. Many of us have uploaded those pictures. Many people know that you are not at home. Many people know that you are here. It's also possible that daddy and the other children are not at home somewhere. They are far away somewhere, and they have also uploaded their pictures. You've just told everybody in the world that you are not at home. So the man that wants to go and burgle your house has all the free time to go in and do whatever he wants to do. Minimize it. Some of us got out of Facebook. Except you are a business person who wants to showcase your business. But if it's showcasing yourself to the world, be careful. Some of us will buy a new car. We take selfie with the car and we post. You don't know who is your friend. Please, let us reduce that or even stop it completely. Let's stop it completely. If you want somebody to like you, talk to the person directly. Those comment, does he put food on your table? Does it increase your what? So please, let's work on that seriously. There's a story of, I don't need to start. There are many stories that has happened. Families traveling out of the country, they got to the airport, mother, father, and children, they took selfie. Hey, we are about boarding the flight. We have boarded the flight. We have landed safely. The burglar is saying, thank you for going. By the time they came back, the whole house. So let's stop that. Let's stop that. Then God will help us. So as we Then finally, your routine, alter your routine. Let nobody predict you. If you are driving out of your home and you always follow a particular route, the man will monitor you or the woman will monitor you. Once they know that you have passed, they know you are gone. But if you alternate your route, they don't know which way you have passed. They don't even know where to wait for you. Even when you are coming back home, if you just drive from the workplace or from wherever the marketplace or where you're coming from, and they know that once you drive, you open the gate and you just drive in, they will wait for you. It is when they can, know your movement or predict your movement or predict your actions, they can easily come to you. So alter your ways. Don't always tell everybody where you are going to. Not all the time. But tell your very loved ones in case anything happens to you out there. It's not when you are going, you broadcast. We are coming to AWM. I know the news had gone, the information has gone, but you as a person, it's not time to showcase that you're also going for AWM. It is time to think. Just tell your people, I'm traveling. You may not even tell them how long you are going to stay. So that we should be careful of, and God will help us and we will achieve safety in our life. Then, in your environment, know who is your neighbor. It is not time to keep malice. It's not time to hate your neighbor. Be friendly with your neighbor. No matter what the neighbor is doing. You may not fight back, but at least make sure at least you know your neighbor. Because in time of need, it is only that person that is close to you, your neighbor, that can help you. If armed robbers attack and you start shouting, help, 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 and you are keeping malice with the person you are shouting for help, how? It's not going to be possible, except the person still have the mind of Christ that will come to your aid. So, know your neighbors. Good morning, Mama Titi. Good morning, Mama Ngozi. Good afternoon, Mama. Have you come back? That alone. And if your neighbor sees anybody looking around your door, your neighbor will quickly tell you, Mama Chinedu, I saw one man, a strange man, coming around. So those things are needed. It's just normal safety, little safety tips that we ignore. And please, let's take note of these things, and God will bless us. Thank you.
Women for Christ. Did he learn one thing or the other? Is he alone? Okay. All right. All right. Please, I learned today that my gas cylinder should be outside. Nobody go thief them. Don't fear thief. Put them outside for your own life. I beg. Even if you dey fear thief, go buy a chain. Chain them. No one leave them inside house. Please, our camp cylinders, the camp one, be careful with them. Don't do big man with it, oh. And you keep it inside kitchen. Be very, very careful. Very, very careful. And all of us should be security conscious. Please, wherever and whatever you are doing, please, the selfies and the internet, today, if you go there, women, we are there. Please, we should be very careful on what we post on the social media. Before we close, we thank you, our elder, Edejike, and our doctor for this little seminar. But we are going to call our VC for him to come and close us. That God, while he is doing his own work in protecting us, we will do our own part in doing protection to ourselves. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Let us rise as we pray. We want to pray. I want to invite everyone to rise as we seek the Lord in prayer. Our Almighty Father, we especially thank you this afternoon for the safety tips and the security tips that you have enlightened us about. We live in a very dangerous times. The days are evil. And that is why we pray, dear Lord, that your protection will be sure over every one of us. Day and night, be our security. Be our guide and our guard. Particularly, we want to thank you very much because once our life is secured in you, you will always help us. When we pass through water, we will not be drowned. When fire comes, we will not be consumed. Lord, as you are with the people of old, may you be with us, O God. The mark of God will be on our doorposts. Day and night, fend away the evil people from our vicinity. Lord of heaven, as we labor to acquire our properties, will not be that of the armed robbers. As we travel on the road, we will not be victim of kidnappers. As we use gas and wood to cook, the Lord will continue to protect us. On our own part, help us to be security conscious. Help us to be good neighbors. Help us to also do those things that we have learned today. Help us to be discreet with our information so that we don't broadcast wherever we are going to people. Thank you so much for our teachers. Continue to bless them. Again, we pray, dear Lord, that your protection will be sure over every family here represented. Your protection will be over the church of God, and it shall be well with us. Thank you, Father, for answering our prayers. In Jesus' name we have prayed.
Women for Christ. Please, can I kindly invite the ushers to assist us by moving the podium back to the right position? Thank you very much. Now we will invite our song leaders to come and lead us in some of the northern choruses while we wait for the next program. And the next program, by the special grace of God. Okay. Sister Olufunke Ogunsomi, please, your attention is needed here. Song leaders, can we have some northern choruses?